Hi, Pep Stars. It's Ms. Bowen from Pep Practice. In this video, we're going to look at part 2 of the Language Arts 2023 curriculum-based test. So we're going to get right into it. All right, so we left off at question 22 in the previous video, so we're just picking back up where we left off. It says, Kevin jumped out of his sleep and sat in the bed. In his half-awake state, he could make out his mother in the room, but he was not sure why she was there. It was very late in the night, but Kevin knew he had to do some more revision before going to bed. He was laying in bed trying to get some work done, but it was a battle between practicing solving equations and staying awake. Hesitantly, Kevin walked along the long driveway that led to his school's administrative office. The logwood trees along each side of the driveway were almost touching each other overhead. This formed a kind of ceiling through which the sky was only visible in patches. It was unusually cool for a summer day. The sky was overcast with dark gray clouds, and it seemed like they would burst from the seams at any moment. Kevin looked up and a sigh escaped his lips. His mind went back to the first day of the 11th grade. He began to wish he had put in more work. A lot of time was wasted idling behind the canteen with his friends, Javante and Mark. They had also missed several classes. It was only in the last 3 months that he had to put in any real work. Had it been too late, he pushed the large glass door to the office and entered. He shivered. He was not certain if he was cold from the air conditioner or if it was the fear collecting his examination results. Kevin Burton, the vice principal, said, "Here are your CSEC results." A lump was in his throat, his stomach tightened, and somehow his palms were sweating. He was imprisoned by fear. He stared blankly at the brown envelope, then with his hand shaking, began to reach for the white slip of paper inside. He felt someone shaking him. Someone was calling him. It sounded like his mother's voice. "Kevin, it's time to wake up and get ready for school." Which tense is used in the first sentence of the story? Let's look back at the first sentence. Kevin jumped out of his sleep, and sat in bed. Sat up in bed. It sounds like past. Jumped already happened. So the correct answer is B. Number 24. Hesitantly in line 6 is an example of which type of adverb? Adverb of time, place, manner, or frequency. Let's look at line 6. Hesitantly, he walked along the long driveway that led to his school's administrative. An adverb of manner. This is how he walked, he took his time or he delayed with walking. So that's in the manner where he walked. Fair in line 19 is an abstract noun. Fair is an abstract noun. It cannot be touched or felt. in whatever context it's used, but let's check just to be sure. I'm almost sure, but he was imprisoned by fear. Okay, so it's an abstract. No. In which paragraph does the action become most intense? Looks like let's come to many paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4. Paragraph 5. So the correct answer is D. In which line does the writer use a figurative speech? He pushed the glass door to the office and entered. Kevin looked up and sighed, and a sigh escaped his lips. He began to wish he had put in more work. It sounded like his mother's voice. So it's a sigh escaped from his lips. That's a figurative. In which two paragraphs is this setting most evident? Oh, 2 and not 2, but 3 and 5. Let's look at 3 and 5 instead. 3 and 5 is there. So the correct answer is 3 and 5. When they're describing the setting in paragraph 3, talks about the long hallway or the long driveway. It talks about all these descriptive words of what is taking place. And it also here talks about the setting. So 3 and 5 is the correct answer. 3 and 5. All right, let's move on to the next passage. As I said, we spoke about this earlier in the previous video. You must learn how to answer comprehension passages. This is like the 4th or the 5th passages we have seen such far, or thus far. We really need to get a hang of our comprehension passages because they're going to be coming a lot on the exam. So let's read this passage. It says, read the passage carefully, then use it to answer items 29 to 33. According to a study published by the National Library of Medicine, the average student carrying a knapsack or backpack to school was carrying loads that were too heavy for their body weight. The knapsack being carried by the student at 4 primary schools were weighed. It was discovered that if students' knapsack were to range from 10% to as high as 25% of their body weight, this may have a negative impact on their bodies. If a student has a body weight of 38 kilograms, it would not be safe to have a knapsack that weighs 3.8 kilograms or more. Students carried, on average, over 15% of their own body weight, which caused them to hunch or strain under the weight. This means that the weight of the knapsack carried for long periods of time could negatively affect posture and the biological function of their body. Simply put, this would increase the risk of muscular as well as skeletal injury, fatigue, redness, swelling, and discomfort around the shoulders and back. The takeaway is that many of our students are carrying knapsacks to school that are too heavy for them based on their body weight. This is causing chronic pain and injury to boys and girls over time, and it is a problem that may come to affect them as they enter adulthood. Which internal text structure is used in paragraph 3? Let's look at paragraph 3. Internal text structure. Okay, so I've looked at paragraph 3. Let me look at the answer. In summary, for example, oh, sorry. Oh boy. Problem and some solution, comparison, contrast, definition, description, cause and effect. Just double checking. Where am I going? It looks like cause and effect because it talks about an activity, which is the carrying of the heavy backpacks and how this could negatively affect, and that's the effect of the activity of carrying the heavy bags. So the correct answer is cause and effect. Which word or phrase could best be used to begin paragraph 2? For example, because they gave an example there. So I'm just going to read it with it. It said, we can say, for example, if a student has a body weight of 38 kilograms, it would not be safe to have a knapsack that weighs 3.8 kilograms or more. So they gave an example there. Our next question, how much would it be a safe weight for a student's knapsack? Less than 10%. It says that 15% is excessive, so we don't want to go more than 10. It's actually less than 10. So it says if it was ranging from 10 to 25, that would negatively affect the students. So we want the weight of the knapsack to be less than 10%. Or examine the sentence in the box. Use it to answer item 32. And it is also a problem which may come to affect them as they enter adulthood. The word in bold was used in the final sentence in the article and is being used as a conjunction, a preposition, a connective, or a writing prompt. Okay, so and the hair is used as a connective. Move on to the next question. Which of the following best summarizes the article? Knapsacks that are too heavy are danger to school children. Having lockers in school may be a good idea. Knapsacks should be 20%, 25% of students' body weight. Students are putting too many items in their knapsack. A is the correct answer. Let's move on to the repeated paper. So there is another passage, and this brings us to the end. This passage will bring us to the end of the paper. How to eat a mango. Silently, I watched him like a lion, hungry for a prey. Who taught him to eat a mango like that? Wasting time slicing and dicing into pretty cubes. I wish he sunk his teeth instead of the knife he held. As if he heard my pleas, next one he felt it with his hands. It was soft, yellow, and ripe. Then he smelled it. Engulfed by the tropical scent, his senses erased his manners, biting into loads of sweet yellow flesh. No time for pretty curly peels. His mouth sucked the juice until the fruit was transformed to a near white seed with dry, hairy strands. Relieved, I smiled at him. He finally gotten it right. He had finally gotten it. It was spared. I was spared from the boring task of a manual on how to eat a mango. He smiled back at me, a mouth adorned with sticky nectar, his hands marked with trophy of sunny juices. To whom or what does I in line 1 refer to? I silently watched him like a lion. That's the narrator. Which figure of speech is used in lines 1 and 2? I watched him like a lion hungry for prey, like that's a simile. Who taught him to eat a mango like that? That's a simile. Move on to 36. Which best describes the poet's attitude in lines 1 to 6? the poet sounds annoyed. And sentence like wasting time slicing and dicing into pretty cubes. I wish he had sunk his teeth instead of the knife he held. That sounds annoyed. Annoyed. Number 37. How many mangoes were eaten by the persona? Sounds as if it was 2, because he ate one first by cutting it up, and then afterwards he ate one by just biting and eating. Which 2 stanzas have evidence of a climax? Let me count the paragraphs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The two standards that give evidence of a climax, I would believe, are 4 and 5. Let me just do. One, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3. So 4 and 5, yes. Which stanza indicate a resolution in the poem? It's stanza 6 because here the person said they're relieved and that the person had finally gotten it. The narrator was relieved and smiled at the person eating the mango, and the person had finally got it right. So that's the conclusion there. So the answer is 6. And the final question, which best describes the poet's overall attitude in the poem? Is it outraged? I don't quite think the poet was outraged. Serious? Neither. At one point they were annoyed or ambivalent. So by its definition, ambivalent is to have mixed feelings about something. So I can say this was the writer's overall attitude, right? Initially they were annoyed and then they were okay or somewhat delighted in the choice that the person eating the mango had made. So the correct answer is C. All right, so there you have it. That's the end of the test. Let me stop sharing. So I know that we have our exams next week, and I'm trying to do as much of the videos as possible. You see that I'm just trying because I'm still doing my own practices. But I would really encourage this. This is my takeaway from the review of the language arts curriculum-based test. You must know how to do reading comprehension. The entire test is based on reading comprehension. Whether it's a poem, it's a label, it's a passage, it's just based on pulling information from a particular source. So you must learn how to, one, do deductive reasoning, to pull information from your passage. Also, you must learn how to imply, in as though not all the times the answers are just jumping out at you, right? So those are the key takeaways for the language arts curriculum. Please do watch all the other videos. The science curriculum-based test was also uploaded. The 2022 language arts test was also uploaded, and I'm going to upload the mathematics and social studies by tomorrow. You want to watch all of those videos to get full preparation for your examination. All right, so I'll see you in another video. And do remember to share with anyone you know during the grade 6 PEP examination. Good luck, students, in your examination. Continue to practice.